Welcome in our Cosmic Unity Temple podcast. I am Dorota.
And this is Sabina. Welcome.
Awareness, knowledge of perception, of situational effect, consciousness, recognition, realization. So, how much are we aware of? I am aware of the full moon messing around with my podcast today.
Yes, today's the full moon. Energies are pretty strong and we are feeling it, but we're rolling with it.
Yes,
right? So
we're
we're
doing
aware
this.
that we're being affected by another. We're squeezing the lemons.
Yeah, this
We're
is
aware
not
that
milking.
we're being affected by another. We're aware that we're being affected by another large body in the cosmos, and just that that awareness of being triggered by something else, it really helps us ground and understand where we are at, even though we're being affected.
So where we
So
are
today's
at.
topic is soul awareness. Yeah, soul awareness. I will divide those two, like Dorota just explained what awareness means pretty much. Simple words for me, just paying attention to where I am, what my behavior is, what my triggers are, being a conscious, like you said, conscious being, enlightened being, and just when we are aware, I think it's allowing us to, it's a possibility for change because now we're aware, right? We're aware that we are, I think that I am means awareness. I was, thinking about it a little bit deeper today. So once I got aware, I realized, oh, I exist. I have choices, so I wasn't really just paying attention to the environments and the surrounding emotions and stuff. I started paying attention to myself. But then we added the word soul before the word awareness, because there's just so many different, awarenesses, and depending on the perception, we're going to see that as. But we wanted to add soul because, with the soul, we are aware that we are not the body. We have the body, but we're the soul in the body. We do have the mind, those bunch of thoughts moving around in our heads, but we are not those thoughts, right? So we are not the mind, we're not the body, we're a soul that's having an experience, and now we're aware of it, and we're this divine soul, and we came here with some intention, so we're becoming aware of it, and what are we going to do with it now?
Yes, I am aware. I am aware. I see things that are moving around in my life. I recognize that I'm not just a human. I recognize the fact that I'm not what's going on around me, that I'm not my emotions, that I'm not, like you said, just thoughts, physical body. I am complex being, not complicated, complex. There is a lot to our beings. The way I see it, as the physical body is the projection from the soul. It's just the physical form that it's experiencing life here on planet at this time. Very interesting times. A lot of chaos. It's just duality is like screaming at your face. Right? Yeah. My lemon is more sour than yours. No, my lemon is more sour than yours.
Yeah,
I go with oranges.
Right. There's so much going on. Well, today we're recording. Today is what, October 17th, and
Thursday.
There's so much floods happening here in the States and in Europe, and I mean everywhere. The desert's supposed to be, and so it's creating this energy.
How huge was the awareness?
Yeah, huge.
We are aware of it.
we're aware of it. Yes, and we were talking a little bit yesterday and today, and Dorotka mentioned, uh, being aware. Is that a positive thing? Is it a negative thing? It's what, like, how does it affect us? And I think once we are aware, and obviously, that might take a little bit depending on who we are and what we're dealing with and what triggers we have and how strong they are. Because I remember, my once I got my emotional awareness, that really changed the whole game, because I am a person who's very strongly emotional, and that has to do with the zodiac sign. Like, you can go deeper, so it depends on everybody. Everybody's different, but for me, emotions were just such strong part of me that, like, I was born on a full moon, so full moon always affected me. And when I wasn't aware of it, it was a rough day.
Right?
It was such a rough
What's
day.
going on?
I know. It's like, and finally, my husband one day, he said to me, he's like, Sabina, did you notice that when there is a full moon, you're like a tornado? And I said,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I never was aware of that, but
And you are
once I
water element,
became,
right?
I'm a water, yeah.
Yeah.
So once I
Connected with
became
one.
aware of it, exactly. And and a full moon will affect those aspects that need to come out. So depending how much of them we have and how strong they are, they'll be coming out. And if you don't really know it, you can't, it's hard to just relax and notice it and tone it down. So that
Yeah.
was me. Now when the full moon comes and I feel like this, I'm like, okay, I need a break. I need to go take a nap, or I just need to let those responsibilities go of the day, because I feel the full moon. I feel the waters, I feel people, I feel myself, and it's all together, and it's just whoo, it's
Yeah.
something's a
And
lot.
things are getting bigger. It feels like the awareness of things is the one thing. How big, how expanded the awareness is
Mm,
at the moment, how much, because at first it's like you are becoming aware of yourself,
mm,
little things, right? I mean, I'm not saying that recognizing that you have a soul and you actually not just physical body, it's huge. It's a not small thing, but you expand it from just being aware of yourself to being aware of everything around you and connection between the things around you. The fact that we are aware that what we do affect other people. When one creates the change, it changes the
mm,
environment around.
mm.
And when we move from one area to another, we affect other environment,
Right.
and that grows out. One thing is being aware, and the other thing is, what do you do with the things that you are aware of?
Right.
Are
Being
you
mindful.
acting on them, or are
Mhm.
you looking for distractions? Because, like you said, we become aware of everything. The things that we perceive as positive and the things that we perceive as negative. And what I have observed, what is heavy and I see it as negative, what do you do with that? Let's clean the house because I don't have time to take care of that right now. And cleaning the house, I can pretend I'm just cleaning that because, yeah, I don't want to touch that in a way. So I just distract myself from what I become aware of.
Mhm.
Funny thing, right?
Yeah, but that's, like when we were talking, the awareness to me is the first gate to awakening, because and to like activating anything within us. I believe that awareness actually activates our DNA, and it helps us deprogram those blockages. So the first thing that will always happen is us becoming aware of the issue, whatever the trigger, the problem. That's the first thing, and that's the major step, and it's the hugest step, because once we notice it at once, um because it's a tricky thing, like if we lived all this life and we were told whatever we were told about something, let's say, not allowing others know how you feel. Let's say our parents were telling us, oh, you're good, you're okay, don't cry, don't, they're
Mm-hmm.
shutting you down.
Mm-hmm.
We were brought up with this being shut down, feeling, and it
Mm-hmm.
became a part of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to notice something that's such a huge part of us. It's just who we are, like, so unless you meet another person who's like, you know what, this is how I feel, and you hear them talking about it, or you experience it somewhere else, then that's going to be this, this awareness and this knowing and understanding. Oh my gosh, you can say how you feel, and then once you're aware of that, you can let that go, and it might be a little too much. And with time, that awareness and that feeling, it will form into something more gentle and
Mm-hmm.
more nice and loving. Because if we were holding all these emotions inside, then oh my God, once you're like, oh, I can let it out, it's an energy that you don't want, you're gonna let it out.
Right.
But then you're gonna, so it's a process. Like it's such a huge and it's amazing. So being aware is a positive thing once we,
It's a
and first
blessing
and
and it's a
second,
curse,
yeah.
right? It's a blessing and it's a curse.
Yes.
Once you
Yes.
there, you're like, wow. And then on the other side, you can't ignore it. It's like
Right.
you can't pass by something that you are aware of and just
Mhm.
ignore it. It's
Mhm.
either you process that or it's gonna eat you inside. So
Yeah. And
like
that eating inside is a disease many times, in other
right, right.
words, right?
So
Yeah.
that saying, boys don't cry. When you look at men today, some of them are afraid
Mhm.
of that feminine side. We all have it, feminine and masculine. Masculine for me was when I had to take care of my son as a single mother, right? You have to find the strength.
Mhm.
Feminine for men is being able, that's my perception. I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is for every single man, but I believe that the ability of acknowledging that you have emotions and allowing yourself to be in that space. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's just, it is. It is what it
Yeah.
is. You are aware of that emotion. And as a human, regardless of your gender, you are allowed to process that, right?
Mhm.
Once it
And
comes to
feel
your
it. Yeah.
awareness.
Yes.
There's a lot
And
of shift going on right now. A
all this
lot.
and awareness, I think, is being the shift. I think that's what it is. We came, we souls, the souls came here. We are the shift. So once you're aware of that soul aspect of yourself, and like you said, being mindful, that's
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's a huge thing. And that pretty much helps me do my inner work, number one, because when I am aware of the fact that my energy and my state of being, my consciousness affects everything else, I'm going to be mindful of that. Um, and going into another direction, there's forces on this planet who are feeding off those lower vibrations and the negativity. And when I'm aware of that, that even stronger helps me to be in my light and to release those emotions, and not releasing them by putting them on the outside of me and onto others, because that's me, playing the game.
Right.
Okay, somebody's angry, I'm going to watch anger on TV, and let's think about it. Like, how much is there? You watch TV, you listen to the news, it's all negative, lower vibrational, heavy energies that are being pretty much thrown at us because they can play anything they want, right?
Right.
And that affects us, and we want to give it away somewhere because we don't like it, and it's playing the game of feeding that negative, you know
Right.
it's a deep subject, but that helps me turn away from it and be mindful. Okay, I'm not going to play this game. And
Right.
just by not playing that game, we're becoming the shift. I'm
Yes.
transmuting this within myself. That's inner work. Being aware is inner work.
There is a lot
Divine.
of there is a lot of games between the sides, and that, like I said, that duality being aware of it and allowing yourself to observe but not dive into it, being aware of what's going on if you do watch that TV. So taking the shift back online, I have observed many of the teachers that I'm connected with shifting in what they are doing and how they are doing things. In my I Am Serenity Healing Center, I have access bars, aromatherapy, raindrop technique, energy balancing, and a lot of little things added to it. And running the business, holistic business today, I am aware of the internal struggle. I always looked at spiritual stuff as something that I do on a side, outside of work. It's not a job. It's something that creates me. It's something that shows who I am. So watching that shifting from being in a business to just being you and presenting yourself. This is me. This is who I am.
Just, flowing with it. I feel that spirit is really strongly. I mean, I think because of what's happening with the collective, there's just so much. I mean, there's so much going on. I haven't been here for many, many eons or years, well, in this lifetime. But what I'm seeing, what's happening right now, and then there's, all this, oh, it's the dark side doing this. Then there's, oh, it's nature doing this. And it's kind of like, we got to go inward, people. We can't just listen and pick sides, because it's going to tear you apart. It's like the truth is gone, there's just so much. This world is so wounded that those truths are always, I think, distracted. And I am feeling called to just go inward. I'm not even gonna tap into anybody's stuff.
Find your own truth, right?
And stuff, right? And just follow my own path, because I think that right now in this time, that's the best that I can do. It's me working on myself with my own light and bringing that strength and that grounding, because like when we do that, when being aware is activating that DNA, so coming back to our original frequency, and everybody has their own. So like, I have my own, Dorotka have your own. This is our mission here, to go back into who we are with our own higher self, bringing that specific frequency that we wanted to bring here. And when we are tapped into all this around us, especially right now, I don't think it's not helping at all.
No.
And I don't want to play the other game. I don't have TV at home. I don't listen to the news. Yes, I pray for the people who are hurting. That's what I can do, but I'm not becoming it. I'm not tapping into that. I can't, it's too much. It's like, another thing that I learned about myself is one of my emotions that I had to get aware of was being overwhelmed. And that was the name for it before, overwhelmed.
And it's very easy to feel overwhelmed today.
Yes.
With everything going on.
Everything. If you think about finances, this and this, and oh my gosh, it's just so much. But so I would get overwhelmed. And once I became aware of that, I started digging a little bit deeper. Okay, how am I attracting this? Because we are attracting it, right? And then I learned, and maybe I mentioned it in one of our podcasts, but I would say that my cables in my head are burning, or
Why
so I would have literally a phrase that I would say that would bring it on. Once I became aware of that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can say that. So I was being mindful of what I was saying to my body, because I'm not my body. But I have my body, but I'm not. I can make those things work, right? So I started saying that to my body, so it wasn't listening to that anymore, and it became less and less and less. Now that overwhelm shifted into being overstimulated. And my kids notice that. And so it's funny, like, let's say I'm doing something in the kitchen. I like to focus on one thing at a time. I'm not the greatest multitasker, and I honor that. That's okay. Some people are, like my brother, who's a Gemini. He can do seven things at once. I can't. I want to
Me
have
neither.
one. Yeah, I can add something else, but I will reach my limit, you know. So let's say when I'm in the kitchen making food and thinking about lunch or something, and my daughter comes in and she starts talking to me, and then somebody else comes in, and my son was looking at me, he's like, okay, you guys, you gotta stop. Mom's getting overstimulated.
My dinner
So
is burning on the stove.
and I was so happy. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're starting to like know and understand where I'm at.
Hmm.
And that really helps me because I don't have to get, you know, frustrated trying to state my boundaries because people don't understand, but now they do understand. So now they will notice that. So that was huge. So now I learned that it's, for me, it's being overstimulated with the amount of energies. Let's say, you know, I go pick up my daughter from a camping trip and all these kids come out of the bus and everybody's talking. And I'm just like, oh God, you know, I can't think in that moment. I get overstimulated, but now I know what it is and I give myself time. And if somebody wants something, I'm just gonna say, listen, give me a little. I'm adjusting my energy to the other energies that are flowing out of the bus. It's
Yeah.
funny, but this is how I work, you know. So I'm just aware of who I am and how, you know, I'm not getting mad at myself anymore because I would get frustrated with myself. Like, Sabina, what is going on? Like, I could have said anything to myself, but I don't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
awareness can be a good thing.
It is a good thing. I feel like regardless of what it brings, what we are becoming aware of, it is a good thing. Being aware of one thing that you said, boundaries. If you don't, if you don't have awareness of who you are and how far you are extending, where your energy is, then you allow all this garbage from outside to come and
Mhm.
affect you. Being aware
Mhm.
of your truth and being connected to your higher self, your soul, however you wanna see it, going back inwards and connecting with your truth helps a lot to recognize that, to see that this is not you, this is what's going on around you.
Mhm.
And you find your own truth. You go inwards and you search for your own truth. And yeah, TV is
Right.
not
No.
helpful
For
tool.
those who do inner work, and you clear yourself, you become so much more sensitive to that frequency of what TV is playing, and it's just like you can't sit in it. One time I went to visit my friend, and she was watching one of those programs about detectives trying to figure out how somebody got murdered and this. I seriously, I was just sitting there observing, and I'm thinking, how can you and you know people watch this every day. It's on there every day, and it's like it's just such an unnice feeling in your body. So I really, once I feel it so strongly, I really don't want it. So it's a broadcast, and it's there to keep us unaware, right? It's there to block
Unaware,
us from
yes.
awakening that, yeah, awakening that, DNA, that our own frequency, because this is how we shift this earth. It's like once we tap into that awareness and we start shifting, no matter what there is, no matter what broadcasts are out there, we're shifting it.
Yeah.
We are a broadcast ourselves. So what are we gonna tune into and broadcast? Are we gonna broadcast our own energy, or are we gonna broadcast something else that is being broadcasted?
Pull
It's
out your
like,
antennas,
are we a
right?
slave, right? Yes. Antennas, the hair, antennas,
Yeah.
feel it, see how you,
Plug it in.
and, you know, right. And people really don't know, like, once you turn the TV off, once you don't read things that are making you just feel, ugh, life is like, ugh, you start feeling so much better. You want to get up in the morning. You want to do things. You discover that there's what do you call it? Like hobbies that you have or talents that you have. Otherwise, if you're only tuned in into that negative ugh that's sucking your energy out, that's being fed somewhere else, how are you going to be happy? You won't. You're giving your energy away,
Right.
right?
And it's not just so let's say you can watch educational stuff on TV because
Right.
you are not computer savvy, or your phone is not iPhone, it's the flip phone from whatever century, because that's how you like it. Let's say that you're watching so-called positive TV, right? But it still takes your time away from going outside, taking a walk, realizing how the wind touches your face, realizing how those birds are singing, sitting on the trees, the smell of freshly cut grass, the lake, the sunlight reflecting in the water, the
Right.
little flowers blooming in the grass. Those things that we every single day take for granted. It's okay to have TV. I am not against it, but what and how much of it you use, it's becoming like a drug.
You do watch what my kids do. Am I in charge of that? No, they have their own minds. They're older now. Um, I could have done a better job, maybe. But right, it's like me and my husband, we would have discussions like this, and for me, it always goes back to it's not about the kids watching it. It's about what parents do with the kids. And then if
Yeah.
we weren't, if we are tuned into the outside, like we have our own addiction, watching a TV or a movie versus playing with our kid or going out with them for a walk. We're just in as much in fault as the other person watching
Yeah,
it.
and
If
I did not brought this up
yep, it's
to
definitely not
bring out the
easy.
guilt. It's just being aware of where
Oh
the
no.
the shift is going and what is really going
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
how
no,
like
no.
distractions we have around to
It's right.
not to go
It's
inwards.
being aware. It's being aware of that. So like
Right.
I heard a phrase that I really enjoyed a few days ago. Healing house. Like if we are aware people, our parents, and we have a house, we can turn it into a healing house. And we start becoming even more aware of what programs we're taking on, what are we doing wrong, what are we talking about with our children, what are we watching with our children. It's like like when we're healing, we can make our house be a healing house. And it's bringing back that awareness and tuning out from the things that are
Yeah.
making us unaware of who we are.
And it's not that we are doing things wrong. It's sometimes we are not aware of how much that influences us. And reaching out to the past and reviewing what I have done, I did not have the knowledge or awareness that I have now. Would I do things differently? I don't know, because like I said, the awareness was not there. So it's not that giving your kid a phone, I'm making a judgment that you are a bad parent. No, just the awareness of where we are going as humans. AI could be useful, but how it's like energy. We are talking about, oh, there was numbers that were hijacked and are used for the bad thing. They were gemstones that are used for bad things. It's not, everything is energy, and it's how you use it. It's not that it is this or that and it makes it good or bad. Energy is just energy. Things are just things. Those are tools that we are using. How we use it,
Yeah.
what's the purpose behind, makes
Right.
it good or bad. It's just
Yes.
awareness.
Yes. What are we gonna do with the knowledge, right? Like
Yeah.
once we become aware, there's this knowledge, perception. What are we gonna do with it? How are we gonna use it?
Yeah. Choices. We always make choices. It doesn't like I would go back in my past and say I should have done this or that. Judge myself on bad, good decision or whatever. But also at the same time, asking myself, did I know what I know now? No, I didn't. So when I was making decisions in the past, I was making decisions based on my knowledge.
Right.
So
Based on
that's,
your
it's not a
awareness.
judgment, it's a statement, and it's an awareness of things before and the things now.
Right.
And what I have on my hand today is more than what I had 10 or 20 years ago. And that's
And
a
having
huge difference.
forgiveness.
Yeah,
Right, having
absolutely.
forgiveness. When you said that, you didn't mean to. I completely did not get, affected or none of that. I had to work through a lot of being a parent, in the work with being a parent, being a mother, and it doesn't affect me. Because like you said, I know I was where I was. That's what I chose as a soul. That's what I needed to learn. I'm completely fine with that, And I also know that my kids have their own path, and I don't see myself 100% responsible for their path. I know that I can be a guide. That's all I can be, by an example, mainly, showing who I am and how I do things, and what energy that makes me have. This is what we feel the most, like the
So,
kids feel that.
does awareness save you from making mistakes? What is your take on that?
Um, when I hear word mistake,
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in mistakes. I think we are learning, so I don't see something as a mistake. It's a process of learning. I don't see myself as making mistakes, but I think yes, being aware is guidance, is giving me more wisdom to make a better choice based on where I am at that moment.
Get a little upset in a certain place, and I said, and please forgive me, those who are with different opinion and different position in life. I said, I'm not a sinner. I just experience life. It sort of goes with what you said. I'm experiencing life. I'm making decisions. And what I learned from that is either I make decision that help me grow and create something good, or decision that created setback and maybe some negative emotions within. Like this whole change and being aware, it's kind of a pain in the neck too.
Well, yeah, because once you are aware, you're becoming responsible of that awareness.
Ah, there
Once
you
you
go.
right, once you know, you can't be like, oh, I didn't know. No, now you know. And now you know that you affect others. It's, and sometimes things just happen. That's another thing. Sometimes somebody will say something. I mean, we are so interconnected. We have so many past lifetimes. Sometimes something will come up, and here and now it's this thing, but it's a complete different overplay of another situation in the past. And sometimes, we might get triggered so strongly, and when people are not aware of that, then that will create more drama, trauma, whatever. But it's just like being aware of that, being mindful, being understanding. It's like I was trying to meet with a friend on Monday, and we set the date and we set the time, and oh my gosh, for the second time I completely forgot. And I was like, I
Oops.
didn't even know how to write. I couldn't call her. I couldn't face her. I'm like, okay, I can make up a lie, right? And I'm like, no, this is like, I messed up. I'm gonna face this. It took me a few hours to write. Turned out that she forgot to. So so it worked out. But I was just wondering, this never happens to me, and this happens with her and me the second time. So it makes me wonder, why is that? Like, what emotion do I have to work through? What emotion does she have to work through? Like, why does this keep on surfacing? What is that connection to us in the past? Was there a time that we said we're going to rely on each other and we couldn't, or we didn't, and it's bringing that back? Because it's really odd. I mean, to me, it's just so odd. This is not me. It's completely not me, but
Yeah, I always like to
it's
be
happening.
early at the meeting, not late or forget about it, like
Yeah.
totally
Oh
forget
my
about it.
gosh. Completely flipped second time.
Yeah.
Big bloop.
But
But,
it's
and
okay.
and I,
It's just I feel that
I did,
so
yeah.
when it doesn't happen first time, second time, there is a reason for it. Maybe the energy needed to be just right. Look at us. Look at this podcast. I mean, I I don't know about you, but I feel like we rock.
Yes. And we have better days, we have worse days. And
Yeah.
what I was thinking is doing this podcast and then later on watching yourself. That's huge because you can learn a lot by
I
watching
know.
yourself
I never
and
liked it.
listening to what you're saying, right? Listening to what you're saying, looking at, and I'm not even talking about the visual, obviously, but just you can learn about yourself so much by doing this. So we're like, okay, we're doing this, and
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's like it's work between me and Dorota. It's our different differences. It's us feeling comfortable together. It's us being, what's the word? Forgiving and being understanding
Flexible.
and
Under
allowing the
yeah.
other to bring in what they want to bring in, being that soul. We all have our own gifts, not comparing each other. There's so much. It's a
That's
beautiful thing.
weird. That's weird. No comparison whatsoever. I'm like, she's the water, I'm the air. And so who is influencing who in here? Can I make the waves?
God, I never thought about it like that. But
See?
yeah, I know. And it's seeing the other person for the beauty that they have and the gift that they have. It's like I'm so much into the elements. I love the elements. It's amazing. And like in our music group now, we're playing this in different instruments that have to do with different instruments. Like that elemental thing is just so deep,
Uh-huh.
and it brings another piece to the whole situation, and it's needed. It's such a needed piece.
Right.
Yeah,
It's great.
it's great.
It's really great. It's great to be here with you and doing this podcast and I keep looking at our light language on the background and it just there is so much for those who are aware of that. There's so much in the color, there's so much in elements on the background, and it's just yeah, it's packed with information if you just
Mhm.
want to be aware and open to it. It's so much. Awareness is huge thing. You can be aware of everything, but the main thing is being aware that you are more than just human, that you can choose, you can make your own decision, but also that you are responsible for your life, right? You are free to create, you are free to live, but you are also responsible for every action you take. I intend to go somewhere and my mind jumps elsewhere and then I forget things. So guess what? That's just happened. Duh.
It does. That used to be a huge thing for me. I used to go in that space all the time. All
And
the time.
is there a medicine for that?
I think for me it was being aware. Okay.
Mhm.
Once I became aware that my past was so traumatic and there was so much trauma that I made myself forget.
Yeah.
And I believe that going into that space here and there is like a little um, tip to there's things that you didn't want to remember. But
I agree.
Now you face, right, now you face this, okay, what do you want to remember? Because
Yeah.
I don't think it's there for me to go into that trauma and remember what that is unless I'm ready for it, unless I want to deal with it, unless that's the way I want to heal it. But I think the feeling of not remembering something is there for me to remember that I don't remember who I am,
Uh,
you know.
yeah.
So I think that's bringing that awareness.
Yeah. If you
But
didn't get
now,
lost yet,
who
stick
am I?
around.
Does it really matter? Yeah. Yeah. So it's deep. It's deep.
It's deep. It's deep.
All right.
It's always deeper than my skin. So, any last word? What do we want to end this with? We are totally aware that time is passing, and we are totally aware that we need to finish this podcast. But also, we are totally aware we are having fun talking, and it's great.
I know it's fun. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna finish it with this sentence if that's okay.
Sure.
And I forgot what I wanted to say. Hold on. Forgiveness, forgiveness. Well, I was gonna say something like this, like being aware that we are not just a body and a mind, but we're a soul. And we have such deep memory, we have so much DNA, there's so much information within us that we can tap into. It's worth being aware.
Yes, that's deep. That's
Yeah,
that's definitely DNA deep. So,
DNA deep.
yeah, so be aware. We are grateful that you are here and you are watching. Check our podcast, previous ones, if this is the first one you are watching. We have few of them. See you all next time.
Yeah.
And don't
Like,
forget, like, don't forget, share.
Yeah.
Don't forget that we
Subscribe.
are also available separately. And Sabinka still does her business from Wisconsin in Texas, Houston area. So if you guys want to just connect and chat, I'm open. And I'm sure Sabinka will be happy to talk to you in Wisconsin and wherever you want to call from or come from. See you next time. Have a marvelous week. And tata for now. Don't let the lemon kill your mood. Aku tanti na ayawasi ang tuwing anahina watahina wataalaud ta inon endi ena o enebiyanaki watua atiana makate.
Tua taki ato ana oya ta kata a I o yana ita. Oya ta iya ana ya orai ita. Wa ita wa ota no ta. Oya una ya ona. Wa ka pi a una.